So finally coming to this last topic, which is equation of a chord whose midpoint is x1, y1. So again, this is very similar to what we have seen in circles, and the equation also will be the same. That is the reason why we won't be deriving the equation. You can read all these derivations yourself, but from now I'll be just putting on the final results because that is what it's useful to you and you'll be using that in the exam. So if I have a point x1, y1 in the interior region to this parabola y square equal to 4ax, this would mean that my s is equal to y square minus 4ax, right? We've been seeing this. Now, from this point x1, y1, there are lots of chords that you can draw. Let me use this color yellow to represent those chords. So you might have a chord like this, you might have a chord like this, you might have one like this. There are so many chords that you can have, but there will be this one chord. In fact, how many chords can you have? I would say infinite chords, right? Because you can just keep going, you can draw as many as you want passing through that point, but there will be one chord which will be bisected at that. There will be that one chord to which this x1, y1 will be a midpoint, right? So that means you will have a point here, you'll have a point here. The midpoint of this point and this point will be your x1, y1. There will be only one such chord. So out of all these chords, how do I find the equation of that chord? The answer to that is using this s1 equal to s11. So we have already derived this in circles, and there are ways to derive this in the parabola as well. So you can assume this point to be 81 square comma 281. You can assume this to be 82 square comma 282, and then basically take a general point on this xy, right? Take a general point on this, write the equation in terms of the general point, and finally replace t1 and t2 with x1, y1, because ultimately your x1 will be 81 square plus 82 square by 2 comma 281 plus 282 by 2. This will be your y1, right? So you can replace, you can use these two to replace t1 and t2 finally with x1 and y1. So all those derivations, you can just read and understand it yourself. The final result that you will get is s1 equal to s11. So s1 means y1, s1 means y1 minus 2a into x plus x1, that is your s1, and this is equal to s11, and that's just putting the point y1 square minus 4a x1. So s1 equal to s11 will give you that chord which is basically bisected at this point x1, y1. So this is a useful result. We'll be seeing the same things in ellipse and hyperbola as well. With this done, I would say every chapter, all of these coordinate geometry are done in 4 layers. One is the first time you see a concept. The second is you build more concepts based on that which are related. The third is looking at the properties of each of these concepts, and the fourth is solving a lot of problems. So I would say until here we have done, but a few properties and a few more derivations of each of these, like properties of tangents, properties of normals, and properties of focal chord. These things, just have a look at these in your textbook, and based on these two, based on the concepts that you have got from these two, you can always apply that to this, and once these 3 are done, you can solve a lot of problems and you will be through. You will be able to do almost everything that comes in the examination. So with this done, the chapter on parabola is finished. Let's move on to the next chapter, ellipse. I hope you found this informative. Thanks for watching.